All right, good morning, everyone. Can I get some reacts so that I can check whether I'm audible to you or not? All right, thank you very much. So today we are on day 2 of our review session for English. So like what I've mentioned yesterday, we're going to be building up on our previous knowledge. So from grammar, let's start with words for today. And then for our next sessions, pupunta tayo sa mas malaking units when it comes to writing and speaking in English. So after words, sentences, after sentences, paragraphs. So how do you learn new words? Do you make it a goal? Do you make it a goal to learn new words? Mayaman ba ang inyong word bank, kung baga? So how do you learn new words? Through what? What are some of the activities you engage in or some of the things that you do in order for you to learn new words? Yan. So some students are saying through reading. This is correct. Right? So reading can help a lot in learning new words. And of course, not only that, not only getting exposed to new words, but also uh in terms of understanding, diba? The meaning of the words through context clues, in terms of how these words are used in a book. One student also says, that's right, watching movies according to Savannah, right? And then through communicating with other people, that's right. So when we communicate with other people, we also get exposed to the words or even to the tone and style of their speaking. When we read someone's work, word puzzles, that's right. Or even watching a movie, diba? So the words that are used in various media rather, can be helpful in learning new words yourself. So for today, we're just going really to play around with words. And while again, you may have different tools that would most often function as a synonym finder or an antonym finder or a similar word finder, the reality is that it's better if you have a rich vocabulary because that can help you not only in writing but also in speaking. And at the same time, it allows you to use the words correctly. Sometimes we encounter students in the university who seem to use these functions a lot, yung synonym finder, yung paggamit ng thesaurus. And while there's nothing inherently wrong with that, the idea is that sometimes when we write, we have our own personal style and tone of writing. And when we use these tools a lot, nawawala yung tone and style ng sarili mong pagsusulat. Dahil nakadepende na lang tayo sa kung ano yung isasuggest sa atin instead of us knowing exactly what words to use. Right? So let's start very quickly or briefly with word origin. Where do you think words come from? The words that we use in English, where do you think they come from? Diba? So obviously English is a blend of words from many other languages. So say for example, due to occupation by other countries or cultures, nagkakaroon ng mga words from other countries or cultures. So during also the English occupation of other countries and cultures, nadadala rin yung English brought by immigrants. And of course, English is also highly influenced by different cultural trends and fashions. So when we say cultural trends and fashions, we have since English still a very dynamic, di ba? It's a language that keeps on evolving. So nagkakaroon ng mga bagong words na dadagdag sa English language. So for example, can you think of new words that have been added to the English language na dala yun ng cultural trends and fashion? So one great example would be during the rise of mobile technologies, cellphones in particular, na may camera, nadagdag sa English language yung salitang selfie. Diba? So before that, wala naman tayong konsepto ng selfie. Yung si selfie ba kayo? Familiar naman tayo lahat, di ba, sa selfie? Right? So, and again, due to the rise of popularity of your mobile technologies, so nagkaroon tayo ng word na selfie. Dati pa to, dahil sa kasagsagan, di ba, ng paggamit ng cellphone, tapos yung mga tao, they were very excited to take selfies. So nadagdag siya officially sa ating dictionary, English dictionary. Okay? And then there are even some Filipino words that have made their way the English dictionary. Do you know of some Filipino words? Boondocks, that's correct. Diba? To refer to as in bundok, the bundok, diba, sa Filipino, mountains. It just spelled a bit differently, but basically, it's the same idea, bundoks. Kilig also has become part of the English dictionary. Although, of course, for us Filipinos, perhaps it might be a bit weird to use kilig in a sentence. Kasi para siyang Taglish o konyo even to a certain extent. Riz, nasa dictionary na ba siya? So perhaps, di ba, that's what we have to check. And then if you're familiar with the term emeldific, a word that originated from Imelda Marcos. So yung emeldific has to do with a very luxurious lifestyle. It is in fact uh in the English dictionary. So since we're talking about words, perhaps a word that we are also familiar with is etymology. We also call it the study of word origin. So if you check your dictionary, for example, for most words, you'd find an etymological definition. So it has to do with the origin of the word and the way in which their meanings have changed throughout history. So say, for example, this has a Latin origin or a Greek or a French origin, and if the usage has changed over time. Now, which two languages do you think have the biggest influence on English? If you are to make a guess, or perhaps if you know this already, what two European languages would have the biggest influence on English? That's right. So Latin, and then the other one would be Greek, correct. So Greek and Latin have the biggest influence on English. So Greek being the first Western written language, diba? And Latin was the language spoken in ancient Rome. And these two languages have the biggest influence on English, as seen in these examples. For example, you have the word politics, which came from ancient Greek, yung kanyang root word, which is polis, meaning city, state, or community. You also have the term democracy, with the root word demos, meaning people, and then you have the kratis, meaning power. So in English, we say democracy, meaning the power is in the people. And then you also have gymnasium from gymnasium, gymnasium meaning or exercise naked. So as weird as that may be, but of course the definition has changed over time. But again, we see exactly where these words come from. Now, in the study of language, in the linguistic study of word structures, we have a concept, we call it morphology, which deals with the formation of words. So when we say morphology, this is the study of word structure, the way words are formed and the way their form interacts with other aspects of grammar. For example, your parts of speech. So the way that you form words can heavily impact the words part of speech category. Now we do know that words are made up of what elements ang nagme-make up sa isang word. For example, say the word, you have the word beautiful. Di ba? We've studied it since grade school. Ano yung composition ng word na beautiful? The word beautiful is composed of what letter? That's right. The root word, we also call it in linguistics, bases. What is the base of the word beautiful? Correct? Beauty. And then you have full. Anong tawag dun sa full? Para maging beautiful, correct? So you have, okay. So some of you answered suffix, some of you answered affixes, but overall, as a general category, we call them affixes. And affixes can be what? So you've already mentioned one, the suffixes, and then the other one would be the prefixes, correct? So the basis or the root, yung basis, this is just the more linguistic terminology for your root word, and then the affixes, which can be prefixes. Where do you find the prefixes? Before the base, correct? And then the suffixes following the base. And again, when we play with words, I use the word playing with words because it makes the activity a lot more fun, but to a certain extent that you have all of these different base words in your word bank, and just the addition of a prefix or a suffix can change entirely the part of speech category of a word, and you can use that word in a different context. So some of the most common affixes would be, here are some prefixes, again, preceding the base of the word or before the base. You have the prefixes. So here's this one, this, none, and on. What do we usually use it for? Yeah, yes, that's right. To express negative. So when we express negative, we say words like disagreeable, non-negotiable, unwilling. So opposite siya. So meaning you are not agreeing with that person, you are not negotiating, you are not willing. So our knowledge of words and our ability to create new words out of base words using affixes can allow you to write in a simpler manner. So for example, instead of always saying, I will not agree with you, diba? So that's a longer form, that's a longer variation of saying, I disagree. And sometimes it's the lack of knowledge of words that would contribute to bad writing. So the more words that we know, the ability to create new words from existing base words that would allow us to write better, to speak better, to express ourselves better, and also to express certain sentiments in simpler manner. So can you think of other words that we commonly use that you can use prefixes such as this one, this, none, on? Ano pa yung mga words na na-form natin using these prefixes? Dismantle, disconnect, right? Unwanted, disagree. Nandito na yung disagree. What else? So what other words can you think of na dinadagdagan natin na mga prefixes na to, and then you form a new word with a new meaning? Non-binary, unbearable, unimpressed. Ayan. So doon natin makikita, unbearable. Yes, doon natin makikita that we are able to form new words and we are able to use them in different contexts. Unfortunate, unfortunately, indifferent, unlucky, ano pa, disinformation, correct. So again, these are different examples of words using this set of prefixes. And then you have the word or the prefix by, which means dual or two, correct? Some examples are bilateral, bicycle, binomial. What else? Can you think of other examples? Bisexual, correct. Yeah. And then you have also bilingual, correct, if you know two languages. What about semi or semi, depending on the base word that you're going to use? Part of, correct. So we say that for this particular prefix, it means half or partly, so part of something. So we say semi-annual meeting, a semi-annual meeting, a semicircle. Can you think of other words like that? Semifinals, correct. So say you're watching a competition. Diba? So semifinals na siya. Semicolon, correct. Uh, Semi-automatic, that's right. So again, you're able to form different words based on one root word, and then you add a prefix. Semi-formal, correct. And then here are some examples of suffixes. Able, so capable of. Examples are lovable, suitable, remarkable. Can you think of others? So you have a base word, and then you add the suffix. So again, when you say a suffix, it's after the base word. That's right. So bearable, non-negotiable, tangible, exactly. And then for the examples that some of you have given. So for example, you have non-negotiable. So doon, di ba makikita natin that you have the presence of a prefix, non, and then able, negotiable, or even yung unbearable. Diba? So nakadagdag ka ng both prefix and suffix, tapos nabago mo entirely yung meaning ng word. You have ness, attainable, affordable, dependable, correct. What about ness? So we use ness to refer to a state of something like happiness, sadness, what else? Neatness, correct? Kindness, diba? So you have all of your different, say for example, you have an adjective, say kind, and then lalagyan mo ng ness, di ba? It's the state of something, so magiging na siyang kindness, cleanliness, gratefulness, etc. And finally, you have is, or, refers to what? To an agent or a doer, right? So for example, you have a painter, a chemist, an artist, or an actor. Can you think of any other words like that? So from a verb, pwedeng from a verb, kunwari paint, nagiging painter. So like what example here? Teach, di ba? From a verb, magiging siyang teacher. Some, meron ding elite. So that's a noun, it's magiging elite. So doon naman, naging siyang adjective, di ba? Cheater, correct. Dancer, villager, etc., etc. Now, why are we discussing this? So perhaps you might think, sobrang dali naman ito. But what we want to play around with is the idea that affixes can change the part of speech category of the base. So this is a way for us to exercise our minds, to connect our knowledge of vocabulary to our knowledge of grammar. So take a look at this example. You have the word friend. What part of speech category is that? So friend, anong part of speech category nun? Noun, correct. When you add the prefix be, and so the word becomes befriend, it becomes a verb. And our knowledge of the part of speech category allows us to use that word correctly in a sentence. So you want to befriend someone, diba? You want to make that person a friend, as opposed to just using the word friend in a sentence. Similar also to endanger. Danger is also a noun. If you add n, what part of speech category does that become? Endanger. Verb, diba? You are endangering someone with your actions. But there are also prefixes that are category preserving. For example, happy is what part of speech category? Adjective. When you add the word on, it's still an adjective, diba? Unhappy. Reopen. Open is what? Verb, correct. When you reopen, is it still a verb? Diba? It's still a verb. And then for your suffix, meron ka rin category changing. For example, what is wet? What part of speech category is that? Adjective, correct, diba? Descriptor siya. And then when you say wetness, becomes an, what does it become? A noun, diba? What about achieve? So to achieve, that would be a verb, correct? Then, if you add the suffix achievable, what does it become? This is achievable. An adjective, right? It's an achievable goal. But there are also suffixes that are category preserving, like green. For example, you have the word green or any color actually, then you say ish, greenish. Still, what? What kind of what part of speech category is that? An adjective, correct? Then you have a lion, you add an ESS to indicate the gender, so lioness. That is also still a noun, diba? So again, your knowledge of prefixes, where to add it, how to add it correctly, or affixes in general, can help us form words out of the words that we already know, and then to use those words correctly based on whether the affixes are category changing or category preserving. Okay? So let's exercise our minds sa knowledge natin ng words. So please open exercise 1 for the vocabulary part o sa Canvas. So just very, very quickly, don't search. So yung ano lang talaga, words that are on your mind, in your mind. So this should be what you will see doon sa ating activity. So here, you have to pick out the root common to each set of words. And then here, you have to make a noun and an adjective from all of these words in order for you to create new words. And then here, you are to add appropriate suffixes to create different words, two nouns and an adjective. And then here, you are to add the appropriate suffix to create two nouns. Again, we're just playing around with words for now. So just get them, diba, from your word bank. So makikita naman natin yung mga given the words. So I'll give you 15 minutes to work on the activity. Access denied sa Canvas. So let me just check the exercise again, but it should be available. Are the other students also having difficulty accessing the activity? Okay. Ma'am Jo, so Ma'am Jo, naka-lock yung activity. Uh, I've opened it already, so I'm not sure why it is locked. Naka-publish naman siya. But you're able to see the activity, hindi nyo lang siya ma-access. Tama ba?
Still lock po talaga mo.
Nakikita nyo lang. Okay, can you try? Because I've already published it. So dapat ma-access, yun lang nakalagay, access denied. Not available. Why is that? Yung buong English na course? Okay, okay. Sige, let me just check ha. Okay. Somebody might have. Nag-pretest po daw. So, hindi po ba makaka-access yung hindi nag-pretest? Kasi kahapon na-access naman nila, naka-prerequisite. Okay, okay. This assignment is part of an unpublished module and is not available yet. Um, I'll just change the settings so that they can. So I tried to publish it again. Can you check everyone if you're able to access already? Okay, so please work on the activity. Thank you. On under the vocabulary, building a vocabulary skills day 2. So that would be exercise 1. You should be able to see this as the first part of the activity. All right, everyone, are you done? Let's answer. So again, in on Canvas, you should be able to annotate and also upload the file for your answers. But since we still have a few topics to discuss today, let's go over your answers. Again, for the first part, can I get some react so that I know if you're here? You're back here already, all right. Okay, thank you, everyone. Okay, so here all you have to do would be to pick out the root common to all. So if you're not yet done, that's okay. You can just submit later on. So for now, let's just go over the answers first. Okay lang naman yun. And state the meaning. So for the root word, it has to do with the root common to all of the given words. And then based on the context clues, right? So number 1, as you have answered bio, you have life. What about for number 2? You have words like barometer, diameter, geometric, meter, symmetrical. So you have the word meter pertaining to measure or measurement, right? And then 3, you have microcrystalline, microorganism, microphone, microwave, micro, small, tiny. Okay, number 4, physicist, physician, physiology, physical. What do you think is common to all of these words and what does it mean? Physic, natural, nature, correct, or natural? What about number 5? Microscope, macroscopic, telescope, cinemascope. So which would be common to all of the words? Scope, okay, which means to assert and the extent, the range. Yeah, so pwede yun. What about number 6? Thermal, thermodynamics, thermo, that's right. So you have heat or temperature, correct. Then 7, you have capital, captain, decapitate, decapitate. So what would be common to all of these words? Caput or head. Or for those of you who just answered cap or capped, that would also be correct. Number 8, you have emit, permit, committee, transmit. So based on the given words, what would be common to them? The word mit, sent, meter, to let go, or to send. It's correct. Suspend, depend, perpendicular, independent. So what do you think would be the common word here? Pend, hanging, right? To hang. Irregular, regulate, region, regulation. What do you think? Reg, to rule. That's right. To rule or to head, to guide. So that would all be correct. Again, let's change the part of speech category of the words uh by adding an affix to the given word. So to make a noun for logo, what word did you present? Logical. To make a noun, logic, 'di ba? Logic. Pwede. And then an adjective, logical. So that's logical reasoning. So that becomes an adjective. What about a verb for mutary or to change? What would be a verb for that? Mutate, correct. And then what would be a noun for that? Right, mutant or mutation. Diba? And then you have regere or to rule. What would be a verb based on that word? Regulate, correct? So that is a verb. It's a verb, regulate. And then an adjective would be, what would be an adjective based on the word regulatory, correct? Diba? That's an adjective. A regular, sabihin mo, a regular employee, pwede rin. What about graph? Make a verb for graph. Is there anything you need to change? For graph, ano yung verb na pwedeng galing sa graph? Verb. Graph. Okay. So for graph, graphing, pwede. Or pwede rin graph lang alone, diba? To graph. Graph as is correct. That's already a verb. What about a noun? How can you change graph in order to make it a noun? Telegraph, right? Telegraph, noun. Graphics, correct? That's a noun. Photograph, that's a noun. Okay. And then finally, you have litera, which means letter. To make a noun, how would you change it? Literature, literacy, letter. For a letter itself, tama naman yun, tama yun. Literature, that's right. What about adjective? A literate individual, right? A literary person, pwede rin yun. A literary work, pwede rin. Or literal, di ba? Literal meaning of the word, pwede rin yun. Okay? And then let's go over this again. So like what I've mentioned, the exercise today really has more to do with playing around with words, exercising your mind to create words from existing words. What about this one? We want suffix. So at the end, after the base word, to change the given verb. So all of these are verbs into two nouns and an adjective. So for converse, how did you change converse into nouns? Conversation, correct. What else? Ano pa ang pwedeng noun sa conversation? Or converse. Conversation. What about the person? Conversationalist. Diba? That can be a noun as well, correct? What about an adjective for converse? Conversation. Conversation would be the noun, correct? Conversationalist uh can be the noun. And then for the adjective, you have conversely, correct? Conversely speaking. Although that is really more of an adverb, diba? So the adjective would be conversational, right? What about accept? Acceptance, correct for the noun. What other nouns can you make out of the verb accept? Acceptance, acceptability, correct? What else? Meron pa ba? Acceptable would be the adjective, right? So it's acceptable, that would be the adjective. What about rec? How can you turn that into nouns? Okay. The wrecker, correct. Wreckage, that's right. The wreckage, wrecker. So those are nouns. What about adjective for wreck? So yung, okay, pwede naman yung wreckable. Although hindi natin siya masyadong ginagamit, pwede mo sabihin wrecked. As in, dadagdagan nyo siya ng ed, pero hindi siya past tense, diba? But you're using it as an adjective, meaning yun yung nasirang bagay. Or wreckable also meaning kasira-sira. Vindicate. What about nouns for vindicate? Vindicator, correct. What else? Vindication is also a noun. What about an adjective from the word vindicate? Okay, right. Vindicative or vindictive. Diba? So that would be an adjective. What about employ? So ito marami to. Employ na noun. Employee, correct. Employment, that's right. So those are nouns. Employer, employee, employment. Those are all nouns. What about adjective? Employed, that's right. You are an employed individual. So it's a way to describe, diba, a person. Pwede rin namang employable. So the person is employable. So may quality siya, diba, na pwedeng i-employ. Okay? And then finally, you have this, again, suffix at the end. So we want an adjective and two nouns as well. So human would be, what would be, adjective muna tayo. You are humane, correct? Okay, and then two nouns would be, so humanitarian, humanism, humanitarian. What would that be? Okay. So for the nouns, you have humanity, humanism, humankind. Okay, so you have humanist, humanitarian, humane for the adjective. What about for simple? What would be an adjective for simple? Simple is already an adjective, diba? So pwede ring simpler, simplest, so comparative, then superlative forms. Okay, and then uh what about for the nouns for simple? You have simplicity, correct? What else? Simpleness, that's right. Mm-hmm. Or pwede mo rin gamitin if you're familiar with the term simpleton. Diba? Somebody who's not very bright. So pwede mo rin gamitin yon for that. What about number 3? Adjective, soft. So soft is already an adjective. So softer. What else? Softened, right? Softness, correct? The softness would be the noun. Softly, that's right. So that would be an adjective. What other aside from what other nouns can you think of for soft? Softener. So kunwari may gumagamit ng products, di ba? That's right. Softener. So you have. Okay, and then what about liberal? Software. Pwede rin naman. Software. What about liberal? That's right. Liberally. Liberating. That's right. Liberal itself. That's right. Pwede na siya. And then for the nouns, you have liberalism. Ano pa ang pwedeng nouns? Liberation. Correct. Liberalist. Correct. Referring to the agent. And finally, you have sentimental. What can be an adjective for sentimental? Sentimental is already an adjective, diba? So that's a given adjective. And then what nouns can we form from it? Sentiments, correct? Sentimentalist, sentimentality, sentimentalism. So those are different words that you can form from a given word. So again, it's good to play around with words because that can enrich your vocabulary. So whenever you're reading, whenever you're watching movies, try to expose yourselves to as much words as you can. Try to figure out the meaning of those words, and of course, use it in actions. When I say use it in action, use it in writing or use it in speaking. So that way, nagiging inherent part ng vocabulary natin, yung mga words na natututunan natin. And we can play around with those words and how we use those words in writing and in speaking. Okay? So now let's go to word meaning. For word meaning, of course, we're not really going to look at dictionary word meanings, but some of the concepts that can help us better use words in a sentence or can help us better use words whenever we are speaking or whenever we are writing. Yeah, yes, you can still post the activity afterwards. So for example, are we familiar with the term collocations? I think that this is also discussed na, di ba? Ano bang ibig sabihin ng collocation? Kung hindi kayo natapos, you can still post the activity later on. What about collocations? What do we mean when we say collocations? Okay, is anyone familiar? So when we say collocation in English, that is pertaining to a sequence of words that would often co-occur. That's right. So co-occurring words and the combination just sound right in native English. And other combinations, while the word may be proper or correct, they just sound unnatural and wrong. So in other words, simply put, these are two or more words that often go together. And it's great it's good to study collocations because basically we want our written material, we want the way we speak to sound natural. Ito yung sinasabi natin na, again, pwede tayong gumamit ng synonyms, but yung mga words ba na pinipili natin, do they sound natural, especially when they occur in the presence of another word? Now, take a look at the following examples. You say the fast train or fast food, diba nag-order ka ng pagkain, it's a fast food. And while quick is synonymous to fast, is it natural? Is it natural sounding to say quick food? I'm going to order quick food for lunch. Diba? It doesn't sound natural. And so, this is where our knowledge of collocation comes into play. We want to use these naturally co-occurring words as much as possible so that the way we speak and the way we write would also sound natural. However, kahit nga synonymous ang fast at quick, mas ginagamit natin yung salitang quick shower kaysa sa fast shower. At ginagamit natin yung salitang quick meal. I'm going to have a quick meal kaysa fast meal. And again, synonymous siya. But the examples here sound more natural in English. So for today, for this next topic, yun yung ating mga titignan. So maraming uri ng collocation. That's what we're going to look at. And I'm going to also provide examples for your collocations. So number one, you have the adverb plus adjective collocation. For example, you have richly decorated room and fully aware. Okay? Again, walang grammatical basis yung collocations. It really has to do with what words co-occur and whether this co-occurrence sounds natural. So, nakukuha natin yung knowledge natin ng collocation sa familiarity and sa exposure. So, that's like what we mentioned a while ago. It's good that you're reading, you're watching shows, you are listening to others as they speak, because that's how we learn. what natural English would sound like. Okay? So for this one, since maraming collocations, just a way to test ourselves, minsan naman sa ano yan sa listening natin, mapapakinggan natin which of these would sound more natural. So I give you options A or B. Which one do you think sounds more natural in English? What do you think? Absolute, the police are advising motorists to travel only if their journey is absolutely necessary or highly necessary. So again, parang pareho lang naman, parang tama naman pareho. But which do you think is more often used as a collocation? Right, so that would be letter A, absolutely necessary. Okay, what about this one? So bakit siya adverb? Diba? Absolutely is an adverb. Necessary is an adjective. What about this one? I am vastly ashamed of what I have done. I am deeply ashamed of what I have done. So which one goes well as a collocation? Letter B. Deeply, again, adjective, and then ashamed would be your adjective. So again, ito yung sinasabi natin na pag gumagamit tayo ng mga tools for synonyms, antonyms, and whatnot, try to avoid sounding unnatural. Yung para bang hindi talaga to parte ng vocabulary mo at namamali yung mga natural sounding collocations na ginagamit natin sa English. Because when you read a paper or when you listen to somebody talk in that manner, you would know that it doesn't really sound natural. And it doesn't read natural as well. Papel man ito. What about this one? It's deeply or highly unlikely that he'll be late. Which one would be a collocation? Letter B, correct. Diba? Highly unlikely ang ating commonly na ginagamit. What about this one? She seems reasonably happy or logically happy in her new job. Letter A, diba? So again, yung logically ay synonymous, so reasonably, but it just doesn't sound right, right? So she seems logically happy. So hindi siya natural sounding collocation. Next, you have here adjective plus noun. You have regular exercise. Diba? You say a maiden voyage. The Titanic sank. So here's an adjective, the descriptor, regular exercise, maiden voyage. And then we say excruciating pain. And again, if you listen to sentences or if you read sentences with collocations such as this one, you would feel na, okay, natural siya, smoothly flowing yung ating words. Okay, so yun yung ating, that's what we want to achieve whenever we are speaking or writing. All right, so here, which one is more natural sounding? My manager said he wanted to have a brief chat with me or to have a short chat with me. So alin yung mas ginagamit natin? Okay, that's right. So that would be letter A. Di ba ginagamit natin collocation ay brief chat. What about this one? For investors with deep pockets or huge pockets, the property market is attractive. What do we use? Okay. So, the more natural sounding collocation would be deep pockets, hindi siya huge pockets. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng deep pockets in the first place? Rich, madaming pera. Diba? So we don't say huge, we say deep. Malalim ang kanyang pagpupugutan. Marami siyang pera. What about this one? The law prohibits workers in important services or essential services from striking. So which is a more natural sounding collocation? Letter. That's right. That would be letter B. Okay? And again, while pwede mong palitan, in certain context, pwede mong palitan yung important ng essential. Pero dito, when it comes to describing services or even workers, diba, we say essential workers, but we don't say important workers. So, nagko-collocate kasi. So, natural yung collocation nito. What about this one? Despite her ordeal, she seems to have suffered no ill effects or sick effects. Which one is more natural sounding? Which will we use? Letter? That's right. So letter A, di ba? Again, pwede nating palitan. We can say that sick is synonymous to ill, so that's why pwede nating sabihin, I'm feeling sick today. Pwede mo rin sabihin, I'm ill. Pero, pagdating sa ill effects, hindi maganda pakinggan yung sick effects. And then here, another item, we wish him a fast recovery or we wish him a quick recovery. Ano yung dito yung mas ginagamit natin na collocation? I wish you a, that's right. So we say B, quick recovery. And again, synonymous naman yung fast and quick, but there's something about quick recovery that just sounds better. Okay, so kailangan hinuhone din natin yung listening, yung pandinig natin, whether something sounds natural or not. And in writing, that's something also that we practice. So that's why there are some writers, for example, I don't know if you do this, but whenever they write, they would try to sound out a particular sentence because by sounding it out, when I say sounding it out, I mean reading it aloud, especially if they feel like the sentence is weirdly constructed or awkwardly constructed. So when you read it out loud, you sound it out, you listen for whether it sounds natural or not. So doon mo makikita kung may grammatical errors ba, kung may improper collocations ka bang nagagamit. So if you're unsure, try to do that. And then you also have noun plus noun collocation. For example, you say a round of applause. Diba? Round can also be circle, pero we never say circle of applause. It just isn't correct. Then you have ceasefire agreement. Okay, and then we say 2 bars of soap. So these are nouns plus nouns. Take a look at the following examples. Which one is a better collocation? Or which one is a collocation? Desk job or table jobs? Young people have gone away to college and taken. Right. So dito, di ba? Desk jobs ang tawag natin. We never call it table jobs. And if you use that, it just doesn't sound correct in English. What about this one? The discount figure is at 5% or the discount rate is at 5%. So which do we commonly use? Right. The discount rate. And you know what? Kwento ko lang, minsan nakikita natin to pag ang estudyante gumagamit excessively ng AI tool. Kung nakagamit na kayo ng mga paraphrasing tool, nakagamit na ba kayo ng mga paraphrasing tool? Minsan pag hindi natin na-check or gumagamit tayo ng paraphrasing tool, ganito yung mga lumalabas na problem. Kasi mostly, ang mga paraphrasing tools, hindi naman talaga sila nagpa-paraphrase. What they do is just to restructure a bit and reword or hahanapan nila ng synonyms, yung mga word na i-input mo sa tool na yon. So, ang nangyayari, kung may mga collocations doon, magsasuggest siya or ang ibibigay niya sa yung paraphrase, i-reword niya. So, nagiging mali na yung flow ng sentence dahil mali na yung collocations, hindi na siya naturally sounding. Because I know that there are paraphrasing tools out there, but they're not really powerful enough to do actual paraphrasing. Oftentimes, they just reword. When I say reword, papalitan ng synonyms, pahahabain or paiikliin yung isang word. Tapos, i-restructure ng konti, pero basically, makikita mo yun pa rin naman yung structure ng sentence. At doon na pumapasok yung konsepto na it doesn't sound natural anymore dahil nagre-reword lang tayo, which is not the purpose, diba, of paraphrasing. Okay? And then, here, which one do we often use? Can decrease the hours of work and increase salaries and side benefits or fringe benefits? Right. So we use the term side benefits. So yung fringe kasi, di ba, fringes, so parang pareho rin, pero hindi siya talaga ginagamit. What about this one? We can see there is a whole lot of room for improvement or room for betterment. Okay, so di ba ang ginagamit natin ay room for improvement. Okay. So that would be noun plus noun. And then we also have collocations, na noun plus verb. And this is normally associated with sounds. For example, the lion roared, the dog barked, or with actions. Of course, kasi verb siya. For example, first no, what does it do? It falls. For the plane, it takes off. And in relation to that, meron din verb plus noun, meaning the order lang yung nagbago. For example, murder, committing murder, doing homework, making your bed, you make your bed after waking up in the morning. Diba? You give a presentation. So, yun yung mga collocations naman involving a verb and a noun and a noun. So, let's look at more examples. I think he will break the record or he will shatter the record for the most suspensions at work. Which one is a proper, natural sounding collocation? Letter A, break. Diba? Break the record. Yung say shatter the record. So ayan, kunwari gagamit ka ng tool na paparaphrase sa'yo, malamang ganyan yung gagawin niya kasi naghahanap lang siya ng synonyms. So that's why the human aspect of writing really has to be there. I want to have progress or I want to make progress in my career. So ano ba yung mas ginagamit natin? That's right. So we say, I want to make progress. So pwede mong sabihin bilang estudyante, I want to make progress in my studies. And then we also have verb plus expression of preposition, like this one. We had to return home because we had, so running out of money. And that's an expression with the preposition run out of, that would be the preposition money. Filled with horror. Burst into tears. So yan yung mga, ito may verb ka and then expression with preposition. Drive anybody to crime. Okay? So let's take a look at more examples. Which one is a collocation? The boys argued about or the boys argued on which bus to take? So ito, kailangan papasok rin dito yung knowledge of grammar when it comes to preposition. Argued about or argued on? Try to listen to it carefully. What would be the correct answer? Okay. So may key difference yung paggamit natin ng argued about sa argued on. Although ginagamit natin yung argued on. So when we use argued about, kailan natin ginagamit yung argued about? So for example, in this case, which is better to use? We use A, argued about. Sometimes we even use argue over, but we don't really argue on. Because when there's an argument, there are two parties, diba? So this is about a particular topic or over a particular issue. So yun yung mas common nating ginagamit. We argue about something. So that would be the more proper collocation. What about this one? Or, syempre, pagdating sa argue, you can also say you argued with someone if you're pertaining to who you are arguing with. Okay? Pwede rin yun. O depende sa paggamit mo. What about this one? I object with your opinion or I object to your opinion. Which do we use? You object with or to? That's right. We object to someone's opinion. Okay? What about this one? He derives meaning from context or he derives meaning on context. What do we use? That's right. We derive meaning from context. Okay? And then we also have collocations containing verbs plus an adverb. So a description of the verb, like gently play something, whispered softly, or you remember, but only vaguely. What about this one? We strongly condemn or we highly condemn this wild and cruel act. Alin yung mas tama or mas natural sounding? Letter A, yung sinasabi natin, we strongly condemn. What about this one? I plainly remember or we say I distinctly remember it being your idea. Ano yung mas ginagamit natin? Letter B, correct. That is right. All right. And then we have here also, aside from collocations, another thing to remember would be your levels of diction. So when you say level of diction, ano bang ibig sabihin ng diction? Sa Filipino setting, minsan pag nakakarinig ang mga tao ng salitang diction, it has to do with the manner of speaking, kung maganda siya magsalita. Pero that is a misconception. When you say diction, what does it have to do? That's right. It's the use of words, the choice of words. It's not the pronunciation of words or the eloquence with which someone speaks. So normally, nagiging misconception, ang ganda ng diction niya kasi American sounding, ganyan. Pero mali yun. So tama dito, it's the choice and use of words. In language, we say that there are three general levels of diction. We have the low-level diction, mid-level diction, and the high-level diction. And of course, whenever we choose the words to use in our writing or in our speaking, we have to be considerate of our audience. So in more formal settings, of course, we use high-level diction, especially for academic papers, perhaps. But we can also use the mid-level diction. Kumbaga, ito yung neutral ground between the low-level and the high-level diction. And in, say, conversations with other people, we can use the more informal level of diction or the low-level diction. So if you're speaking with your friends, if you're just hanging out, okay lang yun. Pero when we are preparing a paper or delivering a speech, then we need to use, di ba? Either the conversational or the formal level of dictions. There are certain writing teachers, for example, who would say to not use in particular yung sobrang high-level diction in the sense that your writing becomes very hard to comprehend. So again, the point of writing is to express, di ba? Not to impress with highfalutin words or with words na multi-syllabic. Kasi technically, linguistically, mahirap yung basahin at mahirap yung intindihan. So the middle diction is essentially neutral. It isn't especially formal or informal, and it can be used in a variety of settings. But what I want to emphasize here is that audience consideration is very important when it comes to your choice of words. At the same time, be careful with using abbreviations, jargons, and slangs. So when we say for example, you're using not just abbreviations, but also acronyms, you are not to expect that everyone would know what those abbreviations or acronyms stand for. That's why normally in writing, say you're going to introduce, or you're going to use, say, WHO. So first i-introduce mo na siya. World Health Organization, lalagyan mo ng parenthesis, WHO, and then succeeding usage, pwede mo nang gamitan lang yung acronym or even for abbreviations. And then of course you also have jargons, which in language is defined as a special terminology that is peculiar or specific to a particular field. And again, we don't expect all of our readers to understand these jargons. So in writing and also in speaking, we want also to be able to explain what these jargons stand for. If we are talking or if we are writing for an audience composed of lay individuals or lay people, then kailangan rin nating i-laymanize yung jargon. Yung slang naman ay composed of informal words with arbitrary and extravagantly changed meaning. So, pwede diyang pumasok yung mga ginagamit nating informal or internet slangs. To a certain extent, kahit yung mga salitang idiomatic in nature na hindi, wala naman talaga silang place sa academic or formal writing. So, kailangan natin yung ayusin in order for us to write properly and in order for our audience to better understand what we are writing about. All right. So let's go to the final exercise of the day. You should be able to see on Canvas exercise 2 or able to see it. The first part contains this, yung collocation. And then you have here. So here, because the part of speech is used in a variety of contexts, we just want to know. So again, going back to our part of speech category. And then finally, you have eliminating jargons and slangs. Okay, so are you able to see exercise 2 on Canvas? Can I confirm? Okay, so please work on it. Again, you have 15 minutes. And then when we come back here, we'll discuss it for 10 minutes or so. And then we can end our session for the day. So I'll see you everyone around 11:40 or 11:43 around that. Okay, so please answer exercise 2 under building vocabulary. Activity. So it's a pretty short activity. So I'm Let's check if you're back. Can you give me some Zoom reacts so that I know that you're back here? Okay, thank you. Okay, so for the activity, for the first part, you just have to match the number to the letter na meaningfully makakagawa ka ng isang collocation. So, rate of is best collocated with letter. Rate of, that's right. So, we say rate of, okay, rate of interest, letter B. What about number 2? State of will best collocate with letter. That's right. Letter C, state of emergency. Series of. Okay, sorry, nawala pala dito yung isa. Series of letter F, correct? Series of events. Number 4, sense of. Letter, that's right. Letter A, sense of time. And the number 5, passage of. Passage of. Letter D, passage of bill. Okay? So again, whenever you write, in as much as you want to use these different AI tools, again, the human aspect is very important in order for you to see whether what you are writing or whatever you are preparing in writing, tas gagamitin nyo siya, say for example, in delivering a presentation or a speech, make sure na it sounds naturally. You're using the right collocations and that you are able to correctly identify the usage of the words. Dito naman, here in this activity, we can see that different words can be used in different contexts. And let's state their meanings based on their part of speech category. For example, number 1, None always presses her clothes. So press here would be what part of speech category? Verb, correct. Which means to iron your clothes. Do you know how to iron your clothes? Okay. And then number 2, the press is not exactly happy over the restrictions of martial law. What part of speech categories does the press here belong to? Now, meaning journalist or the media, news outlet, media in general. Correct. 3, watchful consumers constantly press for the standardization of prices for commodities. Ano naman, part of speech category, itong press na to? Verb. Pero, kahit verb to, iba pa yung verb nag-usage sa number 1. Diba? So, itong number 3 na press ay to demand, to force, to promote, to push for something, to pressure somebody, to push, to urge. Tama kayong lahat. Diba? So, dito natin makikita yung notion na napaka-powerful ng words at napakadaming usage ng kahit isang word lang. Number 4, he pressed his point. So, this one is also what? A verb. Just look at the context. His point, so fiercely, he lost many supporters. He emphasized, okay, so dito medyo negative, diba yung kanyang connotation? So pwedeng sabihin natin na overly emphasized, na na-force na yung kanyang point. Kaya siya nagkaroon ng losses sa kanyang supporters. The number 5, to make wine, we first press the juice out of the grapes. Or out of grapes. So press again is also a verb meaning to squeeze, correct, diba? To get the juices out of that fruit. Okay? And then finally here, jargons and slangs. Although here, I think most of these are slangs. So let's try to identify which of them can be taken out of the sentence. For example, number 1, again, iisipin natin dito yung context na for the context in which we are going to use these sentences, hindi appropriate yung paggamit ng jargons or slangs for that matter. Okay? So number 1, you're always finding new opportunities so that deliver more bang for your buck. So obviously, the slang here would be more bang for your buck. What does that mean? More money, that's right. More money. More bang for your buck. So more money for your effort, more financial income, more monetary compensation. Number two, although we got burned in the last contract, you can be sure we'll stand our ground this time. So when you say burned, and the burned, humiliated, or it was unsatisfactory, rejected, correct? Kahit yung, ayan, so yan yung burn. Rejected, yun pa din. So negative yung kanyang meaning in this context. What about number three? The old man down the street has kicked the bucket. So, what is very informal here would be kick the bucket because that means passed away, right? Or passed on. So that would be a more respectful way of stating the same sentiment. Number four, if you refer back to our 5-year plan, you will see that there are provisions for preventing blowing the budget. So what does that mean? Yeah, so blowing the budget, and that means overspending. Diba? That's right. Spending too much or overspending. Unnecessary, that's right. Unnecessary expenses or unnecessary spending, pwede rin yun. Number five, you spent a long time and a great deal of sweat equity earning that diploma that hangs on the wall. So dito, alin naman yung pwede nating i-simplify, palitan? A great deal of sweat equity. So ano bang ibig sabihin nun? So you spent, so based on the context also, you can see the definition of that. Spent a long time and that's right. So hard work, great effort, earning that diploma that hangs on the wall. So again, for our lesson for today, the key thing to remember is to properly choose the words to use, play around with the words, but make sure that you know what the words mean and how to use them properly in a sentence, and to make sure that your sentences would sound natural, and that natural sounding flow may have to do also with your choices of words. And that can help you a lot in writing and also in speaking activities that you might find yourself doing in the university. So do you have questions for the day? All right, so if there are no questions, we will meet again on Thursday because tomorrow is Independence Day, so we're not going to have a meeting tomorrow. Yes, Benedict.
Ma'am, may I ask about the
Mhm.
what again, ma'am? The collocation,
Collocation. What about collocations?
ma'am. They are grammatically correct, but they don't. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, sorry. I didn't hear the last part. They are grammatically correct, but
But they hindi lang po sila magandang pakinggan, but they are
that's right.
grammatically correct.
Except for the ones with prepositions. Because for the ones with prepositions, the reason that they are not sounding natural is because they are grammatically incorrect. But for the rest, then that's correct. So, for example, quick shower and fast, or a quick meal, and quick food and fast food. Technically, grammatical naman yung quick food. Kasi mabilis siyang i-prepare na pagkain. Pero in the great scheme of things, they don't sound natural because that's not what we have been using for a long time. And people are not used to that. Diba? So, yes, you are correct. So that's why I mentioned a while ago that technically they are grammatical, but they just don't sound right. So that's why may layers, diba, ang paggamit sa English. Or is it grammatical? But at the same time, you also have to see whether is it naturally sounding. Kaya nga, my advice also is to, again, always integrate the human aspect in writing. Because if students often use, say for example, AI tools for paraphrasing, for finding synonyms or antonyms, then the likely result is that hindi natural sounding yung ating pagsulat. Kasi nga, nag-feed lang sa atin ng mga options na words, pero hindi natin tinitignan kung does it flow naturally. Okay, so that's why, like what I've mentioned earlier, yung collocation mas mahirap siya sa grammar to the extent na wala talaga siyang grammatical rule. So what we have to do is to expose ourselves more to different words, to different written materials, so we can build our vocabulary better. Okay?
Thank
I
you,
hope I
ma'am.
answered that question. Okay, so thanks everyone. I will see you on Thursday. Again, tomorrow we won't have a meeting because it's Independence Day. So that ends our discussion for today. I will see you on Thursday. So thank you everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you po.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you po, ma'am.